Hello everybody and welcome back to myPACE. We're going to keep cruising forward and we are going to go into lesson 15. At this point in myPACE, you should have, in the previous lesson, identified which occupation is going to be your ultimate goal. So that's a really big milestone, and you should pat yourselves on the back for the amount of work that you've done so far. But now we're going to take that occupation that you have identified and we are going to create what's called a SMART goal. And so SMART goals are something that we are going to be revisiting quite often in the lessons to come in myPACE. So this lecture is designed to kind of give you an introduction into what we are looking for with these goals. So let's get into SMART goals in career planning. Here we see an excerpt from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. And this is a conversation between Alice and the Cheshire Cat. And it reads, "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" "That depends a good deal on where you want to get to," said the cat. "I don't much care where," said Alice. "Then it doesn't matter which way you go," said the cat. "As long as you get somewhere," Alice added. "And oh, you're sure to do that." A lot of times we often feel like Alice. We know that we're not happy where we're at and we want to get somewhere, but the destination is unclear. And when you start making progress towards something without a destination in mind, you're sure to end up somewhere, but it might not be where you want to be. A great example of this is if any of you guys have gotten really stressed out or just in your feelings and you got in the car and started driving or just started walking. You didn't know where you were going, you just were upset and frustrated and you needed to be not here. You just needed to be somewhere else. And suddenly an hour passes and you take a look at your surroundings and you go, "I don't know where I am." And in those situations, you can pull out your phone and you can use your GPS to figure your way back where you were. But with career planning, it doesn't exactly work the same way. It could be a lot of time and money that isn't being put to the proper use because you didn't have a goal in mind. And this is where goal setting comes into play with career planning. Now, when we talk about SMART goals, SMART is obviously an acronym because Job Corps loves acronyms. So this is going to stand for specific, measurable, attainable, recorded, and time-based. And all of these are going to work together seamlessly. But as we go into this idea of SMART goals, we're going to look at each letter one at a time and see what they mean. S is going to stand for specific. A specific goal is going to answer the question, what exactly are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And what is required in order for you to achieve that goal? This is very much your who, what, where, and why. So, an example of a non-specific goal is, I want to work with people. That's so absolutely broad that anything would really satisfy the conditions of that goal. If you work as a cashier at McDonald's, are you working with people? Absolutely. So have you met your goal to work with people? Yes. That's not what you want. So a big part of the specifics is you allowing your own definitions of what working with people means for you. So a more specific goal would be, I want to pass the bar exam, become a lawyer, and represent clients in legal proceedings in order to ensure they are treated fairly in court. So, whoever this is, their goal is to work with people, but how do they want to work with people? They want to work with people as a lawyer. How are they going to do it? Pass the bar exam. What's required? Well, they want to do everything possible to represent clients so that they're treated fairly in court. There's very little that somebody who isn't the person that made that goal has to speculate on. There's so much less guesswork. Now, real quick, I want you to think about this. Let's say that your goal is to go to college. How can we make this more specific? By saying what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and what is required. What can we add in to a goal of go to college? Well, if we talk about the what are you going to go to school for? What type of degree? Think back to lesson 12. We talked about 3 different types of degrees: an associate's, a bachelor's, and an advanced degree. So what degree are you looking at going to? Where? Where are you going to school? Are you going to a community college? Are you going to a university? Are you going to be transferring from a 2-year college into a 4-year college? Why? Why are you going to college? What major? What are you going to college for? Because yeah, there is a general education degree, but if you're going to college, you probably want something a little bit more specific. So that's awesome that your goal is to go to college. Add the detail in there. Having detail in your goal is only going to help you. So we take that. How are you going to measure your progress? And how do you know when you've reached your goal? That is why M is for measurable. Using the example from the last slide of your goal is to go to college, how do you know when you have met that goal? Will you have met it when you get your letter of acceptance into college? Will you have met your goal to go to college when you register for classes? When you show up for class on the first day? Or will you have met your goal to go to college when you graduate? All 4 of those options, you have a valid argument to say that you have met your goal of going to college. And that's why putting in your goal, how you know that you've met your goal, is going to help everybody, including yourself. But it's also going to help your support team here at Flint Hills Job Corps, so we know exactly what your goals are, even when we are looking at your goal and you are not in the room, because that happens. So, an example of a little bit less measurable of a goal is, I want to get a job I liked. When I was in high school, I worked at the one Chinese food restaurant in my hometown, and I had so much fun. I liked going into work like that. But is that my career? No. So, we want to add in that extra detail. When do we know we have met this goal? And measurability does go hand in hand with specifics. A more measurable goal would be, I will earn my law degree with at least a 3.0 GPA, which is how they're measuring their progress, is their grade point average, and pass the bar exam. That's how they know that they have met their goal. Is passing the bar exam means that they will be able to become a lawyer. So again, let's discuss what we can add to a goal. Let's say that your goal is to make lots of money. How can we make this more measurable? How can we measure our progress? And how do we know when we have met our goal? This is still very broad, saying I want to make lots of money, because that is a very broad definition. Sit back and ask yourself, how much money would you need to make per year in order to feel like you make lots of money? I guarantee that you are going to have a different answer to that question than me, or your trade instructor, or your counselor. Everybody has different definitions of what lots of money means for them. By you taking the time and making your SMART goal to indicate what lots of money means to you, you remain in control. You are painting a clear picture of what you want out of this goal. Nobody is going to be able to do any guesswork for you because you make it clear. So, is lots of money to you $60,000 per year? Okay, indicate that in your goal. How do you know when you've met your goal? When you are in a stable job, making this amount, and you continue to get more and more raises. Detail is your friend, and you're going to hear me say that a lot. A is for attainable. We want to make sure that your goals are rooted in reality. If your goal is to become a vampire or a werewolf, that's not exactly realistic. Or I want to get hired and make $1 million a year entry salary. That's not realistic, and we want to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. That's why A is for attainable. Is your goal realistic? What skills do you need? So what certifications? Do you need a college degree? Do you need to go to advanced training? Do you want to get all of this experience through the military? What resources are you going to need in order to succeed? And are you in control of achieving your goal? Let's say that your goal is to graduate law school with your friend next year. Okay, so if you graduate law school and your friend doesn't, based on the goal that you have made, have you succeeded in achieving your goal? No. You want to make sure that you are wording your goals in a way that you are the only person responsible for your success. Your success is not dependent on the success of others. You can have a goal to graduate law school next year, and your friend can have a goal to graduate law school next year. But your goal should not be to graduate law school together, because your success is not dependent on somebody else. A better SMART goal, in this case, would say that you want to earn your law degree within 10 years of graduating from Job Corps. Is that realistic? Absolutely. Even if you're starting with no college experience, going through and getting your bachelor's, followed by the advanced degree that comes with law school, you would be able to do that within 10 years of graduating from Job Corps. That is a realistic deadline to give yourself. Now, goals are great, but are you committed? And where is this goal written? This is why R in SMART stands for recorded. Goals should not just exist in your head. It is incredibly important for you to write them down for two reasons. One, physically writing it and seeing it in front of you really helps motivate you. It is a psychological fact. But on top of that, let's say that you had to have a one-on-one meeting with 5 different staff members. You had to meet with me, your trade instructor, your high school instructor, your counselor, and Mr. Taylor, our center director. And in that meeting, you need to tell all 5 of us your goals. If you don't have that goal written down, is everybody going to get the exact same verbatim, word for word goal? Probably not. But if you have it written down, you are providing consistency to your support team. There is no confusion between people, and that is incredibly important. Lastly, this does go hand in hand with the idea of attainability. T is for time-based. What is your deadline? And is this a realistic deadline that is going to fit with your goals? Let's say that your goal is to earn an associate's degree. What is a good deadline that we can give this? Well, we know that it takes 2 years to get an associate's degree. We discussed that in the lecture for lesson 12. So, if we wanted to, boom, no room for error, say I will get an associate's degree in 2 years. You can, but what is smarter to do is expect the unexpected. Have a buffer period of time just in case something goes wrong. Maybe you fail a class and you have to retake a class. That might add an additional semester. And that's okay. Everybody fails classes in college. I failed classes in college. Calculus 2 got the better of me. And I can't change that. But giving yourself that buffer is going to help you in case something goes wrong. It is so much better to be ahead of schedule than to feel like you are constantly running late. So, maybe a good timeline to give yourself for earning an associate's degree is within 3 to 4 years of graduating from Job Corps. Now, it's your turn. What you are going to do is use the worksheet that you have been provided for lesson 15. It should be a table that includes all of these components to create a great SMART goal. And you're going to go through and create your own based on the occupation that you selected to be your ultimate occupation in lesson 14. Make sure that you are including as much detail as you can. It is so much better for you to provide more detail than not enough. And if you aren't sure where to get information that is specific to the job that you're doing, look at the occupation page on the myPACE website. It has a lot more information than you think, and this will be great in helping you formulate your SMART goal. If you have any questions in what you think should go into your SMART goal, please don't hesitate to reach out to your myPACE coach. We are here and happy to help you. We can set up a Google Hangout, we can set up a phone call, even if you just need somebody to proofread it. We're happy to help. Once you have finished that, go ahead and enter that into lesson 15 on mypace.org. Specifically, the goal should go into question 1, the entire goal, no matter how long it is, because that's what's going to be appearing on your career plan. Then answer the questions for 2 and 3 and go ahead and submit it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you for the next lesson, metaphorically.